Hi, my name's Jim Moyle. We've got something a little different for you today. With me, I've got Jeff Ulatoski from Omnissa, and we're going to talk about the integration between Azure Virtual Desktop App Attach and Omnissa App Volumes. So, Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. I like to think of myself as a little bit different. I've been doing this stuff for quite a while, working with apps pretty much throughout my whole tenure, whether it was writing them, developing them, managing them. Tenure in IT, spent working with them and managing apps, working for a director of applications, and then most recently as product manager, director of product management at Omnissa for our apps everywhere strategy. Been really focusing on what we can do with making apps better. We've always been kind of on this track of do apps the way you've always done them. And so I've been dedicated to really seeing what I can do to really just improve app management as a whole.
That sounds great. So we did a piece of work together, myself from the Microsoft point of view, yourself from the Omnissa point of view. Um, Making app volumes a sort of first party citizen within Azure Virtual Desktop. Um, I remember how we started chatting about that. It was at a community event.
It was. That
Yeah,
was that. Yeah, I think were we in Athens? No, I
Munich.
think Munich? Was it Munich? Well, we started talking about that at Munich, but I think I was thinking back to when we had met. But
Oh yeah,
uh, so we've been in the communities for a while. The communities are really, really powerful. In fact, I think if I remember, I was trying to, we were trying to connect on email, and we got introduced by a colleague and Steve, and he introduced us at one of the events. I think it was in Italy. No, it might have been in Italy, or I can't remember which country it was because we've been in so many together. But yeah, it was a great community event, and it's kind of the power of community. We were able to find connect and get to know each other. Which made, I think, that when we were at this next event, when you were talking about this idea of really kind of building out Azure and taking it to allow vendors and others to be able to add value. I thought that was a really great opportunity and a great idea. And so, of course, I jumped on it. It was fantastic.
yeah. So talking about that idea, so doing the partner integrations with App Attach. Certainly from my point of view, it was to try and give our joint customers the benefit of Azure's identity, security, RBAC, monitoring, eventing, automation, but also give them the benefits of app volumes and doing it in such a way that it would never be a detriment to the customer to do the integration. There would never be an app volumes feature that you are missing out on by doing the integration with Azure, and that's very much what we tried to do. Is that what you thought as well, Jeff?
Yes, yeah, actually, you're reminding me of that. I had forgotten about our tenants there, but that was one of the big drivers that I thought was interesting as well, is being able to take all of the value that we have in the strategy of taking what we have from an app volumes perspective, so that when customers get upgrades and we add new features, that all of those features would be available for you on AVD. So it's really was really I think one of those things that we said at the beginning that was really, really smart and kind of gave us what we have today.
I know that you've got some demos prepared. I'm sure people want to see it actually working rather than just hear us chat about it. So take it away.
Yeah. So I'll let me see if I can go ahead and share that for you. So you should see I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put let's see, the first demo here. I'll go ahead and show you how easy it is to onboard. So I'm going to really it starts from, as your first point there, making sure you get the value of everything in app volumes means we have to bring a bit of app volumes to AVD. And the way you do that is by actually just right off the marketplace. And so what you'll see here is I'm able to search for app volumes. I'm able to create it. But one of the things that we've done is built an integration using the APIs that we worked on together to be able to create this integration between app volumes, ability to manage and create packages, and the ability for AVD to be able to use app attach and deliver those packages. And so what we're doing here is just kind of setting up the regions and getting everything ready, putting in a service counting. This is all general basic stuff for setting up a offering or a service on Azure. But the next part is where we've brought in. You can do this either from the App Volumes Manager if you've already got it set up in Azure. Otherwise, you can come in here as part of the creation process, and we've brought the settings in here. We'll have to gray these out or blur these out, but you can see here. I'm going to go ahead and put in the information about our tenant, the secret, so that it can actually connect these securely to each other, and they'll be able to communicate freely. And so what you've got here now is you'll see we're creating this apps on demand piece, and then what that's going to do is it gives us an opportunity to kind of set up this App Volumes Manager, and it's going to create all of the resources that are required. It's going to create the database. It's going to using Azure SQL. It's going to create the file shares using Azure Files for storage. So it'll really create the whole environment there in Azure, natively in Azure for you. And then later that this will be available from access from AVD to fully access. So I think we could probably let this run. This takes about 4 or 5 minutes. So maybe we can chat a little bit more while this is going, and talk maybe a little bit about some of the value that we're bringing, or if you had some ideas there.
So it's really cool that you can deploy App Volumes and integrate direct from the Azure Marketplace when you're standing up a new environment. You briefly mentioned it, but if you already have an App Volumes environment, say on premises or in Azure, does this integration work in that situation?
It does. So you've already set up your App Volumes environment in Azure, and you did it manually. And maybe you even do that yourself. You want to roll your own services for whatever reasons. Maybe you've got a more complex topology, or maybe you want to set it up a little bit different. Maybe you're doing any kind of like SQL failover or any kind of stuff that you want to set up that's more than just the basic POC. I mean, obviously we want to be able to get you to smile within 5 minutes and have everything up and running, but the idea is to be able to support you if you have an environment already. So what you would do is you go into the App Volumes Manager, similar fields, you can put in that tenant ID, that information into App Volumes under integrations, and you'll be able to create that same integration. So the integration is actually creatable from either direction, from App Volumes or from the marketplace.
So if you got somebody who's just starting and they want to do, as you say, a POC, what do you think that's going to cost them in terms of Azure resources and licensing? How long do they have to test? What does that look like for a customer?
It's pretty fast. So we have a trial. So it all is already built in with the trial license, so they don't have to go try and we don't hide it behind a bunch of walls where you have to try and talk to 25 people just to get a trial license. And so you can just go ahead, just pop it in and get going right now. Because we really believe once you try it, you're going to want to continue to use it. So you really can just see it for what it is and deploy it and go. So the trial license, I think, is around three months or so. So we want to give you enough time to really kick the tires and make sure that it's a viable solution for you before you go ahead and purchase it. But it completed actually a little faster than I expected. So we'll move on to the second part of the configuration, which is once you've got it set up, you can go into the App Volumes Manager. Now, one of the things that, before I go ahead and click this, is that we stretched our developers a bit because we added Entra ID as well, or Entra ID, depending on who we talk with. And adding that capability, I was just a little bit of work, but it's paid off because now you don't even have to set up Active Directory. You don't even have to go through any of that. So you'll notice that once I first off, you see I've got a sign in from Microsoft here. And once I click that, I get the splash screen, just a pretty splash screen that we have here. And then you go ahead and click onto the next part here, and we'll see that you can actually skip the first two steps, the licenses trial, and then domains, which was our normal first step where you set up Active Directory, that gets skipped as well. So we've also, with this relationship and partnership that we've had here, and the efforts that we've done together, we've been able to actually make it even faster to get App Volumes up and running. So you can just use your Entra ID and get going there. So you set up your accounts that you want from an App Volumes perspective, and we may even be able to do this as a default at some point as well. But you can set up your roles. This one's just a skip because we've already set this up as well. So we set up pretty much everything for you in the initial go. But for those that use App Volumes, this is our first time configuration to kind of step you through. The storage is already configured for you. You don't have to do any of that as well. So all of this stuff is just streamlined. And you can upload, I'm going to skip this, but you can upload a VHD template. This is so you can do the GUI based capture. I'll show you a command line based capture in a bit, but that's you can upload that, and then that's it. Then we can hit save. And that's that you don't have to do that again. It's a one-time thing. And now there it is. I had a package already ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and set it current. Now, what that does is when I set this current, that's going to actually put that package in AVD. It's going to sync to AVD, and it's going to actually say, hey, I've got a current package available. And anytime we move that current marker, it's going to update AVD and let it know that there's been an update. So we'll continually sync app volumes inventory. Think of it like a app warehouse that you can span across all of your pools, all of your host pools. And then when you make an update to an application, you can actually just move that current marker, and it'll update all of the host pools with that update. So I'll show you a bit of that as well. Any thoughts, Jim?
No, it's great. Awesome. Traditional demo application, Notepad++.
Yeah, well, of course, we've been doing that. It's kind of become a bit of an inside joke there because I don't think our manager folks use Notepad++. I think a few of our agent folks still use Notepad++, but because they're doing like some really hardcore kernel C development there. But so you can see here I've got a Notepad++, and what you'll see is it creates a record in AVD as well. Now I went ahead and already have that set up and assigned, so you don't have to see me do an assign an app, but it'd be the exact same way you would assign an app, and that Notepad++ is now an item in app attach, so you can assign this just like you would any application. So I've just to click in a little bit further, I'll show you here. You can see the details here, and the version is 7.8.4, so it's matching the version that's in App Volumes right now with the current marker set. So if I come over to a user, I'm going to show you here what it looks like, the user experience to log in. Now, this is where App Volumes Apps on Demand gets really powerful. Is if I go ahead and launch this Notepad++ app, you'll see as I'm launching it, I will actually, and I'm using the Windows app. It is the web version of the Windows app, but for convenience. But definitely, as you're launching this, it's creating that session on your multi-session server. So you'll have a session that's unique for you. The apps will be unique for you. So you're not going to have, it's not configuring I almost said RDSH, the multi-session server with the application. And when it does that, you get Notepad++ delivered to that machine, and it's going to deliver the version that you have set as your current marker. So as users ask or request apps, that's the essence of apps on demand, we will provide the version of wherever the current marker is. So you can roll an app forward, and you can even roll it backwards. So let's say you roll something out, and it allows you to reduce that testing, because you can actually revert a change just as easy as you can roll it out. And because of the power of the cloud, we can have these servers scale up and scale down to meet user needs. So now you're not thinking about like, what are all my You remember the phrase app rationalization? It was this thing that we
Yeah.
kind of threw at the customers to say, oh, app ration. And I was a customer at the time, so I know. And I remember saying this to my team. I said, we cannot have customers have to do a bunch of app rationalization. It's not realistic to find out what apps users use and have an environment that's somehow sized and fit and matched to meet the user's needs. And so what we did was we said, well, if we could deliver apps on demand and you could scale an environment dynamically like you can in Azure with AVD, then you can basically create an environment that is elastic and you can put the apps on as users need them dynamically. So you don't have to think about segmenting all of these resources for different use cases and different apps. So I'm going to go ahead and do something pretty basic here, which is just move that current marker. So I'm going to go back to the Notepad++ application, our favorite one. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this current marker. And it's as simple as just clicking, 2 buttons here, set current and then set current again. Boom, now 786 is live. And because apps on demand is real time, that will be instant. The way we've set up the integration is that it will continue to update the record with the metadata, but that it does check in and make sure that it's got the right version right when the user launches that application. So when the user's now coming in, and I've got a user that's set up to launch the same application, this time when they launch the application, they're going to, I'll go ahead and log in here. So if you launch this application, what's going to happen is you're going to get, this time I'm going to say, show again. We built a new environment, and that's you get the same dialogues back again. But so if you see this coming in, now I'm going to get the same application, and you can see it's doing the delivery right now. So it's actually reconfiguring the multi-session server live, and that multi-session server will be this user on this server will get Notepad++. Let's make sure. Yeah, they get the next version. Go ahead.
And to be clear to anybody watching, that isn't the actual install on the server being updated. Nothing is installed on the server, right? This is just the application delivery just being changed from one version to another.
Exactly. So if you think about like scaling in an environment where you can use this on your existing host pools, you don't have to do anything different to the host pools. You can have some apps that you've installed on images and then continue to deliver some apps dynamically like this as well. So if you have an environment that's already set up, you can easily add the value of App Volumes without having to do any reconfiguring of those environments. You can just kind of add it right in. And so, but you might find that you can actually reduce the need for these special snowflake images, right? You can actually set it up so that these images will be one generic image across all of your host pools. You can still have host pools set up and tagged for different businesses so that they can get chargebacks for the resources or however you want to set up Azure. That was one of the tenets, was not only to bring all the value of App Volumes, was to continue to retain all of the value of AVD as well and Azure. So it's basically kind of the best of both worlds.
Well, we tried very hard to make it so anyway.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it because it's turned out to be pretty awesome from what I'm, if I can be a bit immodest, it's and I didn't build it, so I guess I can. Our teams did a great job. I'm really happy with it. So if we look at one last thing I want to show you is, so people sometimes think like, oh, packaging, but then you're gonna have to make packages. That's hard. I don't want to make packages. I'm going to show you the command lines because you can do the GUI version. It's even easier. You just click and go, pick a machine and go. But this allows you to basically give the capabilities of packaging to anyone. Like you can give this to the app owners themselves, and they can hand you a VHD, and you can put it on the file share. So that's why I'm showing the app capture. You can literally do this on any Windows machine, and then you can generate this. And now we do one obligatory reboot. So there's a reboot for it. We've added a feature, I think, to suppress it, but just because we have 99% app compatibility, we wanted to make sure, and one of the reasons we get that is because of the reboot. If there's any files that have been laid down, we want to make sure that if there's any renames or anything to those files that they're taken care of. In this particular demo, you can see as we come back, I'll mention that in a second. We've created the VHD that can be dropped in Azure. So one of the new things we've added, so we launched, if you remember, AVD, but we also added the capability of doing, and this was just very recent, the capability of doing MSIs as well. And you're asking why would we go back to MSIs? Well, what's cool about it is it's just a wrapper. So the MSI is a ubiquitous format that everybody knows and everybody uses. All the systems use it. You've got Intune's using it as well. But the idea is you can take that application, you can just drop it anywhere that works with MSIs, and then you get the power of app volumes. So the reduced win rot. So you don't have the win rot from the applications because we'll bring the VHD over to the machine, and instead of it being on a file share, it'll be local as well. But the point being here is that if you're doing this stuff in AVD, and you're gonna start to make it more efficient, you don't have to set up these images with all these different apps installed on them. Not only that, you can then take those same apps that you've packaged, and you saw how easy it was to do, but you can then take that same app and then you can deploy it everywhere. And that's been the tenet of apps everywhere. And so I don't want to say this is the year of apps. Let's call it the year of apps everywhere, because I'm focused to make it the best year for apps everywhere so far. So.
Well, thanks for showing us all that, Jeff.
Yeah.
I hope everybody has enjoyed seeing that, and you can go to the Azure Marketplace and go try it. Try it for yourself. 3 months, 3 months, 3 months free trial, and go test it. It's great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Jim, I really appreciate all the partnership between our teams and the partnership we've had. I'm looking forward to the next event we can be at together. It's been a lot of good work and some hard work there to get some of this stuff going. And I know we've been pushing through it, but I believe our customers are going to be happy with what we've been able to provide them.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming along.
Awesome. Take care. Good to see you.